Hello learners, I'm happy to welcome you again to Manifested Online Classes. Having gone through most of the concepts on longitude and latitude, it's a time for us to get to further solutions to questions to enable us to have varied skills on answering questions on longitude and latitude. So in today's lesson, so further solutions to questions. So as usual, this is just to give the learner varied skills on solving or working out questions on the topic in hand, which is longitude and latitude. So it is just to enable the learner to have varied skills on solving the questions. Before looking at the questions, just a small recap. We learned that most of these lines will be small circles except the equator. All these longitudes, distances around the longitudes will be considered to be great circles. So it is, you deal with 2 pi r. But if they are small circles, the cosine of the angle of the latitude comes in because it is a small circle. So with that, let's look at a question in hand. So Lana, that is the question in example T. As usual, go through the question carefully before you work out the solution. So we read, Kasese in Uganda and Nyambura in Kenya have longitudes 30 degrees east and 36 degrees east respectively and lie on the equator. So once they have just told you, Lana, they lie on the equator, that is a great circle. That is a great circle. That is a great circle. So in the solutions, so what you note first, since they lie on the equator, they are on a great circle. So difference 1, distance in nautical miles will be equal to the longitude difference times 60 nautical miles. Because I said on any great circle, 1 degree would subtend 60 nautical miles. 1 degree subtends 60 nautical miles on a great circle. That is very important. Very important. The equator, that is a great circle. So you'll just move in the longitude difference. This is 36 degrees. Subtract 30 degrees times 60 nautical miles. 60 nautical miles. So the longitude difference between this one, which is more easterly, if it is east-east, you just subtract. So this will come to 6 degrees times 60 nautical miles. That gives you what, Lana? 360 nautical miles. We come to 2. Distance in kilometers. In kilometers will be given by distance in nautical miles. In nautical miles times 1.853 kilometers per nautical mile. Because we know that 1 nautical mile, we proved in the other lesson, 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.853 kilometers. That was proved. So it'll just come, distance in nautical miles is 360 nautical miles times 1.853 kilometers per nautical mile, meaning that 1 nautical mile is 1.853 kilometers. So it'll just multiply, nautical mile cancels with nautical mile. So the answer will come to 67.08 kilometers. So Lana, check how you move. Read through the question. Once they mention equator, you know it's a great circle. But if they would have been on another latitude, you'll find we'll multiply here by the cosine of the latitude, the cosine of that small, of the latitude of the small circle. Let's say, for example, it was somewhere here. Our question, it was on the equator. But if it was on this latitude, maybe 30 degrees north, we will then have to include cosine 30. Cosine 30, because it is on a small circle. So Lana, note as you read the question, always find out if that is on a small circle or a great circle. So all latitudes, there'll be small circles except the equator. All longitudes are great circles. Great circles. So for the assignment, so Lana, let's go through the assignment given there. 2 other towns, X and Y, lie in the same latitude. X being due north of Kasese, which was mentioned here. You realized Kasese and Nyambura were on the equator. So X being due north of Kasese in example T, and Y being north of Nyambura in example T. Given that the distance measured along the circle of latitude, so it means they lie now on a small circle. So as I mentioned, you'll find that cosine will come somewhere. Theta, that theta is in fact the one they are looking for here. Given that from here, being due north of Nyambura in example T, given that the distance measured along the circle of latitude is 216 nautical miles, calculate the latitude of X and Y, meaning that they lie in the same latitude. And note that they are on a small circle. So you'll not just multiply like here. You'll not just multiply like here. You'll find there is some cosine theta, cosine of that latitude, cosine of that latitude, cosine of that latitude. Of course, the longitude difference will remain the same because this one is north of that. North, the longitude difference remains the same when you are working out that question. So go through that work until it continue to give you more practice on questions on the topic. So thank you very much for the audience. Let's meet in the next lesson. Bye-bye.